So when it comes to people on the left and, left-wing media, Trump can never do anything right? Like this dude could cure cancer and the left will find some reason to say, no, cancer's a good thing. Like we need it. Okay. And because let's be honest, like last week was a really good week for President Trump, right? He's done a lot of things. Like you got the victory when it comes to SCOTUS and the activist judges. You got the stock market at record highs. You got the Israel-Iran ceasefire. And then you got the Rwanda-Congo peace deal that not a lot of people were talking about. And then you got gas prices. So President Trump has gotten a lot of W's last week, and it's a good thing. So so when it comes to getting credit for it, Michael Smerconish from CNN, he actually kind of recognized the accomplishments and the wins that President Trump has gotten. So let's hear what he has to say. Then I'll share my thoughts.
President Trump is having a moment. I'm Michael Smerconish in New York City. The first 5 months of Trump 2.0, they're in the books. I'm not shy about voicing my disagreement here with President Trump or doing so on radio. Often, whether it's trade, border control, Iran, I find myself agreeing with the goal, but not the approach. But viewed objectively, I have to say that Donald Trump has just had the best week or best 10 days of his second term. I'm still not sure bombing Iran was warranted. As I said last week, I'd have liked to have seen the evidence of Iran being on the nuclear doorstep rather than take Prime Minister Netanyahu's word for it, especially in the face of what DNI Tulsi Gabbard had testified in March and what Trump himself was saying right up until Israel launched its strike against Iran. But the mission was carried out with stealth and with precision. There were no American casualties. And while Congress is divided after receiving briefings on the extent of the damage, I'm sure that we've derailed Iran's nuclear program at least temporarily, and there's some valuable deterrent effect for America's adversaries who witnessed last week's exercise. Then, last Tuesday, President Trump left the White House en route to Europe. At the time, there was a question as to whether Israel and Iran would honor a ceasefire. That caused the president to offer the most unfiltered, non-controversial, direct words that I can recall anybody ever saying about the Middle East.
We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing. Do you understand that?
And that's the crazy thing, because you don't hear a lot of people talking about that right now, right? Like a couple weeks ago, Iran, and Israel, that was the big talk, right? Like everybody was worried about, things happening, starting a war, World War III. And then now you don't hear anything about that. It's quiet. The media, there's nothing to talk about, and they won't even give credit to Donald Trump for creating that. Right now, of course, we're still worried about making sure the ceasefire stays in place, but so far so good, and it's good to hear at least someone from CNN actually acknowledging that.
Cut to The Hague, where he arrived for NATO meetings and was able to wrangle an agreement from our allies to more than double their defense spending target from 2% of gross domestic product to 5% by 2035. Also, while at NATO, in a press availability, he did something rare for Trump and I found rewarding. He showed empathy. It came in an exchange with a Ukrainian journalist who said that her husband was a soldier. She asked whether the U.S. would supply her country with Patriot missiles.
Are you living yourself now in Ukraine?
My husband is there.
Wow.
And
I can see you very, it's amazing.
And me with the kids, I'm in Warsaw actually, because he wanted me to be.
Is your husband a soldier? No?
He's
there now. They do want to have the missiles, okay, as they call them, the Patriots. And we're going to see if we can make some available. I wish you a lot of luck. I mean, I can see it's very upsetting to you. So say hello to your husband, okay?
And this is one thing that a lot of people don't realize, right? I know a lot of people on the left, they think Trump is this evil dude, right? Like he's the devil, he's the worst person in the world, and a lot of people think that way because obviously left-wing media feeds that to them. Like even during my days when I was when I was a Democrat, I thought this way about Donald Trump until 2020, where I said, you know what? Why do I hate this guy so much, right? Let me just listen to what he has to say. And then the more I listened to him, the more I was like, yo, this dude is funny, right? He's not as bad as I thought he was. Okay. And I think for a lot of people, they don't get to see the good sides of Donald Trump because the media doesn't show that to them. right? And I think for a lot of people, when they actually meet Donald Trump, especially if you're someone that doesn't like him, you find out he's not as bad as you thought he was. Like, look at Bill Maher when he had the meeting with Donald Trump. He came across and he was like, yo, the guy that I was talking to back there, he's not the same guy that I see on TV. He's a much different person, right? Because he's not this guy. He's not that evil person that the media portrays him to be. When you just listen to him talk and then you actually follow him and just listen to the things that he has to say, you find out he's just not that bad. The thing is, he has this defense mechanism because the media is always attacking him. He has so many people attacking him. So he's like he said, he's from New York, so he's always had that fighter in him, and he always feels like he has to protect himself. So he has to act a certain way. And for a lot of people, it's like when you actually sit down and talk to him, you find out he's not as bad as you think he is. So it's not. I don't think it's surprising to a lot of people that actually know him, where he had that moment with that reporter. So yeah.
Also in that presser, he was more reflective and respectful than usual of our allies.
They want to protect their country, and they need the United States. And without the United States, it's not going to be the same. And I left here differently. I left here saying that these people really love their countries. It's not a ripoff. And we're here to help them protect their country.
Back at home, Trump claimed that he's reached a trade deal with China and soon expects the same with India. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick told Bloomberg that the deal was signed earlier this week. China's Commerce Ministry said Friday the two sides had further confirmed the details of the framework. Of course, Trump's initial imposition of tariffs wreaked havoc on American markets back in the spring. But now the markets have rebounded and grown. The S&P 500, NASDAQ hit record highs just yesterday. And it's not just the stock market. Inflation, the great economic fear of recent times, seems to be tamed. The rate is now reported at 2.4%, down from a high of 7% just 4 years ago. Meanwhile, blue-collar workers have seen real wage growth of 1.7% in Trump's first 5 months. This is the largest such increase in nearly 3 generations. Notwithstanding its impact on our national debt, there's also hope among some that Trump's big, beautiful bill will give further financial relief to blue-collar workers, as well as create incentives to build more factories in the U.S. Some already see this happening. For instance, General Electric has just announced that it'll invest almost $500 million in moving production of washing machines from China to Kentucky. And then there's the border. Crossings have slowed to a trickle. According to CBP's May update, Southwest border encounters have fallen to about 282 a day, a drop of 93% from last year and the lowest since the early 1960s.
So look at man, you can see that like Trump, everything that Trump talked about saying he was going to do during the campaign, he is actually getting it done. Right. And it's refreshing to have a president that actually does the things that he's going to say. Right. Not like these usual, politicians that say, oh, they're going to do X, Y, Z. And then when they get in office, none of those things happen. OK. And Trump, he's making good on his promises. And even though he has so many oppositions trying to stop, many ops trying to stop him, he's still pushing through, trying to get things done. And he is racking up a lot of W's. He's getting so much done. Right, and of course, a lot of people on the left, they don't want to acknowledge that. But obviously, for CNN, sometimes it gets to a point where, hey, you gotta talk about the truth, and this is the truth.
Perhaps the loudest cheering for those border numbers is coming from America's Latino community, which might initially sound counterintuitive. On Thursday, Pew Research released an enormous data analysis of the 2024 election, which contained several surprises. High on that list, President Trump won a bigger percentage of the Latino vote than previously believed. Hillary Clinton had a 38% lead over Trump among Hispanics in 2016. Joe Biden beat Trump in this demo by 25 percentage points. Kamala Harris's margin among these same voters over Trump, just 3 points. Wow. Even more surprising, perhaps, Pew Research concludes that if everyone had voted in 2024, contrary to the widely held belief that higher turnout helps Democrats, Trump would still have won. The data show 44% of non-voters said that they would have gone for Trump compared to 40% of non-voters who would have gone for Harris. So if more had voted, his margin would have grown. Yesterday came a huge decision from the Supreme Court. The High Court declared that federal district judges exceeded their authority when issuing nationwide injunctions against Trump's executive order on birthright citizenship. This will, of course, strengthen executive power both for Trump and for his successors. And finally, a Democratic socialist just won the nomination for mayor of New York City. And perhaps you're wondering, well, how does that affect Trump? It gives him the perfect foil, someone to play off in future political battles. This morning's New York Post references campaign literature for Zohran Mamdani, which advocates for increased taxation for, quote, richer and whiter neighborhoods. Just imagine what Trump will do with that. Winning became a punchline that Trump's opponents used to lampoon him in his first administration. He was a political novice then, surrounded by a team with which he was unfamiliar, and he was probably as surprised as the rest of us were that he won the election. This time is different. This time he came with a plan and a cabinet with senior advisors comprised of loyalists all well known to the president. And recently, he's exhibited a more layered approach to governing on both the domestic and international front, no longer solely guided by winning each day's news cycle. By any objective measure, President Trump has his opponents on the run.
There you go. So look at, man, he's getting a lot of things done. And of course, one of the most important things that he needs to get done is this, passing this reconciliation bill. And as you know, at the time of this recording, I'm pretty sure it's going back and forth between House and Senate. So I mean, that's obviously going to be a big deal. And from what the looks of it, obviously looking at the news, they're talking about it should get done by July 4th. So, and of course, the Democrats are doing their best to stall it. But once he gets that done, you're going to see. I mean, there's going to be a lot of things that Trump is going to be able to get done, and it's going to be, and it's only been it's not even 6 months yet. A full 6 months, and he's gotten so much done. So I mean, I'm looking forward to see what's going to come next, because there's a lot of W's. So those are my thoughts. Interested to hear your thoughts. Make sure you leave a comment down below, hit the like button, share, and if you haven't done so already, make sure to subscribe. So guys, take care. Have a good one. Later.